So you did a couple deployments.
2 pre-9/11 deployments. And, again, the life as a new guy is amazing. Like, here's a rifle. It's yours. And then my first department I worked in, I was a secondary comm guy. So I think I had like a PRC 77 with like rotary dials and whip antenna. I hadn't even been to comm school, but it's like, this is my stuff. And I remember getting issued my first set of gear that I look back at now, and it's like I couldn't sell it if I wanted to. It was so antiquated, but I was so happy to be where I was. And we'd train for 18 months and we'd deploy for 6. But my first deployment was to Japan, to the Kadena Air Force Base. And we experimented with how much we could drink and how much we could work out. Like, which ratio is best, 80-20, 70-30? And we'd go train our partner forces. But, we lived life hard. Yeah. It was exactly the brotherhood that I thought it would be. I was surrounded by my best friends. We all had the same drive. You could have told us to go build sandcastles. We would have had the best sandcastles in the world because we just go and go and go and go until we get it right. Surrounded by like-minded, motivated people. Come back, did another 18-month workup as like a kind of new guy, one platoon wonder,
if you will. One cruise wonder.
If you will. Again, you know about 20%, but you think you know about 80. The ratio is just askew.
Yeah.
Went through the whole workup again and then deployed to Guam for 6 months. And at the same time, we'd go to Australia for a bit. We'd train with the partner forces there. We'd go to the Thailands. We'd go to Philippines. And then we'd go back and we'd just train and talk about how awesome we were going to be when the Big Mish. Remember the Golden Connex box?
Yeah.
Big Mish and the Golden Connex.
Leif and I have talked about that on here. Back in the day, especially pre 9/11, we were all preparing for the one big mission that was going to go down, the Big Mish.
Yeah.
And and what was interesting is because we didn't have any combat experience, at least from my perspective, we trained freaking hard because we thought like it was going to be even harder than anything we could imagine. We don't know how hard it's going to be, so we're just going to be like, it's not sandcastles because we would have prepared for that hard too, but it's real. This is what we're prepared for. So we trained as hard as we possibly could.
In every arena.
To be ready for whatever was going to come, which we had no idea. I don't know if I've talked about this before, but we finally got my first deployment, deployed to Guam.
Yep.
And I'm ready for the Big Mish, bro.
Totally.
I'm ready.
It's going down from Guam.
We get there and we get issued beepers. So it's real now because you're getting issued beepers because this back in the day, no one had beepers back then unless some shit was going to go down. So they give us the beepers and we're like ready to rock and roll. And finally, actually, I was surfing and I come in and someone's waving, one of my buddies waving him on the beach like, hey. I run up. What's going on? Hey, we got a page. So we get the page. We got the page. We know we get the 911 page alert.
Oh dang!
Bro,
it's on.
Get haul ass to base. We get there. We get in. The LPO is sitting there. I look at his face and I go, This doesn't look like the kind of face I anticipated seeing right now. And I've been in Guam. This is my first deployment. I'm 2 days into Guam. So I think, man, this is exactly like you're saying.
Yeah, the blue one.
What's it going to be like? Of course, man. I just got on deployment. It's going down. So no kidding.
The president knows that I'm on deployment. He's ready.
Yeah.
We're going to action that target.
So what I failed to mention was that we were like our second or third day in Guam. The first day in Guam that we were there, we went and sighted in our weapons. So we got a recall, emergency recall, 911, go back into base. Guess what we didn't do? We didn't clean up our brass. So I'm not kidding. We went and cleaned up our brass. They made it. They recalled us, emergency recall, to go clean up our brass on the range. After that, the beers got cracked open and it went sideways real quick for the rest of that deployment. But yeah.
Isn't it amazing what used to constitute an emergency?
That was a rough one.
Oh man.
So you end up